best learning program is the one you follow and finish. So experience may vary, but there's one that we think is a good one that we have interacted with, gone through the training, and it's a recommendation.
Absolutely. We've said it again and again. Learning has to be fun. It's not fun, it's going to be very hard for you to continue that momentum and keep moving forward.
We aren't here to waste your time with buzzwords. In IT and cybersecurity, what you know and what you can do makes all the difference. We are ACI Learning, training built for novices and pros who need measurable results. Hands-on labs, real-world checks, courses that get you certified and ready for what's next. Build confidence, strengthen defenses, achieve more. Visit acilearning.com/simplycyber to learn more.
Today, we're talking about something almost every beginner asks us, and that is, how do I study for cybersecurity in a way that actually works and actually gets me to the finish line? And there are a ton of resources out there. We mention that almost in every single episode. We are big pushers for, hey, you can do this alone if you would like. But there is a problem, right? There's just so much out there that sometimes people get overwhelmed. They're bouncing between YouTube videos, random courses online, and just eventually lose momentum. There's just too much at one time. So today we're focusing on what actually helps you stay on track and pass. Things like structure, consistency, hands-on, labs, accountability, and knowing when you're actually ready to take those exams or take those next steps in your career. So if you're starting in cybersecurity, restarting, or trying to figure out what the best path is for you, this one's going to help you. So let's jump in.
Yeah, that's a great lead up. So, I mean, everybody knows there's so much content, and as Steve just said, it is overwhelming. It's a good problem, but it is a problem. There's so many options, so many courses, so many YouTube channels, so much content, right? So much, which is good. That means you have options, but obviously you can easily get lost. You can get overwhelmed and lost and not know, how do I move from A to B? How do I make sure that I'm making progress on myself and in my learning? Do I choose this certificate? Do I choose that certificate? And how do I know when I'm ready for those exams and ready to take the exam? This is kind of us talking about structured versus unstructured learning. I mean, generally, you can just like DIY it, just like Steve said, right? You can go through and, all right, I'm gonna pick Linux and I'm gonna learn Linux. I'm gonna get to that certificate level, go take that test. I'm gonna do Windows and maybe Windows system administration. I'm gonna go do that and go take that test. And then generally you kind of building your foundations and your curriculum as you go. But what we see when we talk to learners is they lose momentum. They lose motivation. Life happens. If you're switching careers and you've got normal family stuff and you're trying to make that progress each day to make sure you're moving forward, it's challenging, and you will likely get paused. Like something's going to happen, and not bad necessarily, but something's going to happen and you're going to have a break in your training, and then you're kind of rebuilding that all over again. You're trying to get that momentum going again of like, okay, where did I leave off? How do I keep moving forward again after I've paused in what I was doing? So, we're trying to kind of look at this in two different ways. You definitely can do that and do it yourself, but an option is to find something that has more structure to it, that basically gives it all out to you, lays it all out there. Here's what you need to do from A to Z, whatever, and you can step through each part of that training. And so our sponsors, ACI Learning, shared their training platform with us, and we jumped into it and got in there and played around. They gave us a little walkthrough, and that's basically their big selling point, is that they do offer you this structured learning. And that way you don't have to think about it. You can think about what I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn this topic. I'm trying to memorize these concepts. I'm trying to get ready for this exam. And I think that's a big bonus with their platform, is how they take away that extra stress. Because it takes energy from you, takes just the brain power to like, okay, am I following a plan? What does it look like, and does it make sense? So Steve, what's your take on that?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think some of the other pain points are, how like if I'm new to the field, I'm trying to take my first steps in, and I'm trying to figure out where to start. We talked about it. There's so many options, but how do I know the option I am picking is actually a good one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I don't even know, kind of where I want to take my career, or how do I want to, evolve it? How am I expected to know that the YouTube video or YouTube videos that I'm picking to learn from are actually good, are actually teaching me legit content? Like, how do I know that? I mean, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
You have to kind of roll the dice sometimes. And, nowadays people like nice things. People like fancy things. If you have a video with a person that spends the money to make it flashy and make it nice, good video quality, lighting, all that, you're going to like that. But if their content is trash, you're just hurting yourself. When if you go to watch a different person who may not be spending all that money, time, and effort making their video super nice and beautiful, but they actually have hands-on real world experience, and they're teaching you based off what they've experienced and what they see day in and day out, you don't know the value that person is giving you. You're solely focused on the production. And that's a lot of the things that happen, right? I've seen some people on YouTube. They go all out on production. They do a lot of things. But when I actually watch their videos and listen to the advice and content they're giving people, I'm like, oh, this is horrible. This is not going to get you where you want to go. But I get it, like how are we expected, or how are new people starting expected to know if they are actually getting real, legitimate, honest, good content from someone if they're just getting started? And I think that's where working with a company like this, or someone who's established, someone who has the reputation, who has good reviews, who you can go and verify and confirm that what they do actually works, is a huge plus. Because that's one less stress you have to worry about. Because that's another thing, we've heard, hey, I found this course on Udemy, or I found this group of videos on YouTube, and I thought that's all I needed to go get my Security Plus certification, and I failed horribly. And it's like, they just wasted time, money, and effort when they could have just gone to a reputable platform and been able to, save themselves time, money, and effort.
That's the difference between somebody that puts a bunch of videos on YouTube and a company that this is all they do, right? This is it. This is what they're built to do. This is what they built their platform on, the investment they've made to share and make sure it's good quality content. It's a difference, right? You can tell the difference. It's not just the production quality, but it's here's everything you get, right? Here's all the stuff you need to prepare to learn this concept or learn this topic. Which I don't think should be understated. It's like, hey, you can go find this for free, or you can go take something that spend a little investment in, invest in yourself, and get more out of it that is going to help you get there. And this is kind of what we do, right? When we help others that are learning, is we try to help give them that structure. We use different things, mostly free things, but we try to at least give them structure so that they know what their steps are. All right, here I am. Here's what I've done. And a lot of times we have to shift those based off of what's going on in their life. Like, okay, I got sidetracked on this thing, and now I'm back to it, right? And so it is challenging to keep up with the plan. Basically, we're always updating the plan and make sure everybody has a good plan that they're following. One statistic that we have here is 80% of self-paced drop out of courses, right? So if you're self-paced, but you don't follow up on the training that you're doing, and you get stuck, or you get lost, or you just kind of give up, right? Now, from our experience, I could definitely see that, where you just lose momentum. You lose your, you just get burned out. I don't know. What do you think, Steve?
I think, I mean, from the conversations I've had with individuals who have reached out to us to ask us, hey, this is kind of what I've started to do. Can you just give me some thoughts, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, give me your thoughts if this is going to help me get to where I want to go. And when we're having those conversations, I think a lot of the issue is they start down a path, but they deep down, they kind of need that like reassurance from someone, right? Mm-hmm. Like, yes, this is going to help you, right? Because like I said earlier, you're kind of just rolling the dice. Like if you don't know, if you're coming in brand spanking new and you're just trying to get into the field, again, so many options, it's hard to just pick one. And I think part of the problem is just not having that like reassurance, like, am I wasting my time? Like, is this actually going to get me from A to B? Like the person I'm watching is telling me, but like, how do I know? Again, it goes back to the credentials. It goes back to like, how do I know that this is not just BS, right? And I think part of the reason why we're talking about this now is we want to help people succeed. I mean, that's bottom line, right? And based on what we've seen, yes, you can get to where you want to alone by yourself using free resources, but it requires a lot of time, effort, and dedication. And some people who are transitioning into the field, they don't have that, right? That is just stress and work that why even bother when there's something structured that works that you can go into at a reasonable price and have a lot of additional benefits and a lot of support too.
Yeah, and they gave us access to like I think it's the Security Plus bundle, which includes A Plus, Network Plus, and Security Plus. So everything you need to learn those. And that's basically what we tell people. Like, look, we pretty much tell people, hey, start with your A Plus, get that done, because if you don't understand some of the fundamentals of computers and a little bit of networking, and especially with the Network Plus that adds on top of that, to build that base and then add on top of their security, then you really are going to struggle when you just jump into Security Plus. You're not going to be able to connect the dots between, okay, this is what the security side of that is, but what does that mean for the end user? What does that mean from the networking perspective? So I think that the way that is a good bundle. That's pretty much what we tell people. Hey, go do your A plus. If you've never done anything, get your A plus, get it done, right? Because now you understand the nuts and bolts. Then add on top of that the networking piece of that. You can maybe do security plus and then networking, but just make sure you do the networking. I mean, networking is king in different ways, but it is. I mean, ideally, it's a great combination to have those three, and then keep adding. It's not done. All right, I'm done. I'm good to go. Now I can go get a job. It's a good base foundation, and so that's what they gave us access to, which I think is a great way to bundle it. What do you think?
No, yeah, I think that was another reason why we decided to work with ACI Learning and partner with them, because a lot of the stuff that they were offering were things that we were recommending people to do, right? And there was a lot of putting things together for individuals that we would recommend things. When I went through their walkthrough and saw everything that they had, right? From the actual videos to the quizzes, the practice tests, the labs. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we tell people, hey, you should do this. You should do some form of this. Here's a couple things that we recommend. They were already doing it. It was already bundled into this like pre-made package that has basically everything you need. And yes, if we personally could meet with everybody and walk through things with people and show them, kind of hold their hand through the beginning of things, we would do it. Unfortunately, we can't. But working with a program like this, I feel like they actually do that. They are there to support you and help you answer your questions, guide you. So I think it worked out great. Going from A plus to Network Plus to Security Plus. Though that's the fundamentals. And it's working with CompTIA, which has been around for forever. Every entry-level position would require some level of certification from that company. I mean, that's just kind of where we are right now.
Yeah. I'll talk about CompTIA right quick. So I know I'm old. I got my A plus certification. I want to say this is probably 1997, maybe 98 is when I've got my CompTIA certification, A plus certification. So it was, I do it in person class. They didn't have online learning like we do now, back then, but basically went to a class. I think it was 2 weeks, and they went through the material, went through the content, and studied for it, and then had to do additional studying, right? But it was nice to do the hands-on part in class, and then went and took the test, and it was great. I mean, it was a great fundamental thing. I still think it's great, and they keep updating it, which is good. But on that side note, on just like the way that ACI presents their content, and you see a lot of these courses that are out there, there's so many courses, right? It's mostly a speaker presenting to you. So there's not really connection. It's just most of the time it's like, a person talking at you, really. Like they're not really talking with you. There's not really interaction. So one thing that I like that they do with ACI is it's two people having a conversation about whatever the topic is, and it makes it more enjoyable to listen to. If you're just listening to somebody drone on and it's just one way and they're just telling you facts and figures and notes, it gets boring. I mean, I'm not going to lie, right? It gets boring. So I do like this approach that they have of having a conversational style where they're just back and forth and discussing a topic, trying to make sure they cover everything. They also give you the transcript for the whole conversation as well. But that's just a unique approach that they have in their training that I think is beneficial.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you. That was one of the things that I noticed was it's kind of like a talk show, right? You have two people having a conversation about a topic, and you're just kind of like the third person, kind of watching. And it is different having somebody, again, like you said, talking at you, trying to teach you, trying to describe things, when you have two different people kind of talking about it together and giving their thoughts, their opinions, and just phrasing it in a way that would make sense to me if I was outside looking in, kind of like listening to two people discuss a topic, like, oh, I get that, like that actually makes sense. So simplifying it and kind of breaking it down. And it's not just you trying to do that yourself in your head when you're hearing or seeing someone talking at you, they're kind of doing that already. So I thought that was pretty neat. And I kind of like that. Also, just the way the production, again, we kind of talked about production, right? Like very professional, different camera angles. Like you can kind of just see that it's entertaining. And that's also one of the reasons why I like them, because some of the stuff that you find on YouTube that is very just one person talking at you can be boring, just like you said, John, right? And this is more of a production, like actual, like kind of like a show, which in my opinion, I would enjoy watching that and learning from in that environment. Then I would just one speaker, PowerPoint slide on the screen, just kind of very like dull. So,
yeah. And speaking of that, when we did our training course, that's what we did. It was us together talking about the topics, maybe not quite like a TV show, but I do think I like doing it with another person, with you. I think it adds some flavor to it, makes it more enjoyable than just a person. On the hands-on part of what they do, and we preach hands-on, right? Hands-on, and get reps with hands-on as much as possible. I think they have a cool way to approach it. We play with their labs and their skills lab. And the skills lab is unique. I haven't seen other platforms do something similar with the skills lab specifically for the A+ training, right? Because it's a virtual course. So it's going to be tough unless somebody ships you all these parts, to build or replace a keyboard in a laptop or change the battery or whatever, right? It's going to be tough to do that. So they try to give it to you in a way that's fun. It's easy to kind of go through all the steps, but you get some kind of hands-on reps with it, right? So this morning I was playing with it, and it was just that. There's a keyboard for a laptop that needs to be replaced, and you have to go through, and it gives you the way they make it interactive is neat. It's different. It's easy to click through and pick things. So you had to take the screws out of the back, flip the laptop over, take the screws out, and then flip it back over, take the keyboard out, remove the ribbon, and then get the other part, put that in, plug in the ribbon, flip everything over to put the screws in. So pretty simple, but okay, that's what it's like. Like you could read about that in the book and maybe even watch a video on this is how you change a keyboard for a laptop. But it's cool to be able to okay, I can see here the snapping of the ribbon, right? There's a piece here that I need to do. And it's not, is it the same as doing it in person? No, it's not. But it is a cool way to get some practice with it. And you've seen it in a lab setting. My recommendation would be try to also incorporate as much hands-on as you can. But you can do both, having that as a platform that you can walk through it. Okay, let me go get something that I could also try to get some hands-on experience with too, like in-person hands-on. But I think that's a cool setup. And then I also played with their labs, like their normal labs that you go in and spin up virtual machines. And what I liked about theirs, and this is similar to other platforms, but I like that it seemed faster to me. Like it didn't take a long time to spin up these virtual machines. They give you very direct steps, which I liked a lot. Like a lot of these, platforms are like, hey, go figure it out. Here's your question, figure out the answer. But that's fine. But, for me, I think it was very nice of to go through. It's more important to get the reps in. I preach this all the time than it is for me to sit here and puzzle out what you're trying to get me to do. I could sit here and look at this question and be like, I don't know, I'm going to go click 5 different things and maybe I get stuck versus do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. And so going through those steps, I found it very responsive. I found it fast. I found that they were good concepts that they did. It was 2 Windows machines and a Kali box and a little network. Perfect, right? The way I equate this to is kind of like walkthroughs, and I recommend using walkthroughs as a way to learn offensive security, for example. You get to capture the flag. Somebody's already done this scenario, like a hack the box type scenario. Here's the walkthrough. That's great. Use that walkthrough, do what they did, right? And go through each step. And then you get those reps in. You're not sitting there stuck of man, I don't know what to do here. Then you give up. So that's kind of the way that they structure the labs. It's a step this, and very descriptive, which I like that approach versus other platforms where it's spin up the VM or VMs and they give you some general guidance, maybe a hint if you get stuck, but they're asking you questions versus do this. Yeah, that's it. What you got?
No, I completely agree. I think going back a little bit to how you started talking about kind of the hardware simulations for the A+ labs, that was very interesting. That was unique. And I think, yes, obviously, the best thing you could do is actually get actual hardware, get yourself a little workbench in your home office, wherever, and break things and try and put them together. That's the best thing you can do. The next best thing is something like what they offer, which is their virtual kind of labs. And some people starting brand new, they may not have multiple laptops or other hardware equipment that they can use to break apart and put together and kind of learn. So this is definitely another solution to be able to still achieve some level of practice and hands-on visual kind of learning, instead of all doing is just video or book knowledge and not actually seeing how the parts work, how things move around and stuff like that. So I thought that was actually very fun and unique. And there were some cool Easter eggs that they showed, so some interactive elements to keep things interesting and fun. So I thought that was a nice little twist that they didn't have to, but they went above and beyond to do that. And I thought it was nice. I thought it was cool. Going back to what you were talking about, the hands-on virtual labs, I completely agree. Part of the issue we have with things like Try Hack Me or Hack the Box is, like you said, they just throw you in there and say, figure it out. I need you to answer this question, figure it out. With this, they actually give you step-by-step instructions on how to do things. You still have to answer some questions, but it's it walks you through it more in more detail than just throwing you into the fire and telling you to figure it out. And like you said, John, I completely agree. I myself learn more by doing than spending an hour or two trying to Google or chat GPT how to do certain things that they are wanting me to do, or even how to figure it out. Because sometimes they don't even give you that many instructions. So I thought that was very unique. I also liked just how quick they were. You mentioned that as well. And it was pretty straightforward. And from the ones that I saw when we were in there playing around, a lot of the tasks that they are having you do are things that you will actually do in the real world. So that was another plus for sure.
Yeah, the Easter eggs, I was going to say, yeah, those are cool. Right. There's just little things in the virtual environment. You're like, oh, this is kind of like I'm working in a real environment. That I thought that was cool. Like you said, they didn't really need to do that, but it adds a little bit of fun and flair to it.
Yeah, and those are the things that I think matter, right? Like
Yeah.
when you are learning something new and you are learning something, period, you want it to be fun. If it is just dull and just boring, like that's going to be a little harder for you to come back for more. And I think that's one of the big things here. The other thing I wanted to bring up was practice tests. The practice test and kind of how their whole practice test setup worked, where they had two different kind of modes that you can do, which was one, I believe it was the learning mode, where you attempt to answer questions and you get instant feedback on your responses, whether you got it correct, whether you got it wrong, and why. And then they had the actual exam mode, which was very realistic. It was timed. You get so many questions out of this question pool that they have. And it's more realistic and more prep for like, hey, I think I'm getting ready to go and take my actual exam. You know, I'm going to use this exam mode for these practice tests to really test myself. They're going to be very realistic. And again, coming from a large pool of questions that they offered. So I thought having those options available to you from the get-go, just by having this bundle, a huge plus. Because a lot of the things that we recommend people to do is try and find different resources to get you the training that you need. But really what's going to help you the most is those practice tests, getting you used to that mindset, because you might know the knowledge, you might know the information, but if you're not able to quickly kind of read through a scenario or read through a question and spot what's not a good answer or what is a good answer, then you may be knowledgeable about the topics, but when you go into that test environment where you're timed, you got so many questions you need to answer, and they're being asked the same questions being asked 3, 4, 5, 6 different ways. Like that is really where, whether you're a good test taker or not, that will affect you. So being able to do that from the very beginning, when you're going through your training, before you go and attempt your actual certification exam, huge plus.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was one of the things I was looking at too, is like, how do you know when you're ready? And I think they give you enough tools to understand. You can take the test as many times as you want to. And I would recommend it, right? But drill in after you take the test. You're like, all right, I'm lacking in this gap. Go back to the content, go back to the labs, rehash that stuff just like normal. But I felt like it felt organic in the way the exams are, and easy to kind of see clearly where you are, what you're missing. But it's built into the bundle. You don't have to go pay for another thing that's separate, right? So you got your training, your labs, and the exam. That's all baked into the bundle, which is nice. It's a one-stop shop.
Absolutely. And the good thing about this bundle, like we were talking about earlier, is you're getting 3 certifications out potentially at once, meaning you're getting the training and knowledge that you need for A+. Then you're getting the training and knowledge that you need for Network Plus, and then for Security Plus. Now, all these are very important, because depending on where you land in terms of if you're brand new, you're transitioning, you have some IT experience or you don't, will depend which one of those certifications. Maybe you already have some, maybe you don't, where you start. But we're talking about the bundle, but they offer these individually as well, with the same type of learning structure, the labs, the realistic exam questions and practice tests. So just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that.
Yeah. And just a couple things. I mean, it's not just some recommendations, if we were going to add some things to what they offer. I think are nice to have. They're not must have, but I think it would be nice, is some part of community that you could add to the bundle or to the course that you're taking where you could interact with others. It gets a little hairy, right? It can be a headache trying to manage community, as we know, trying to keep up that community and monitor that community and deal with it. But a forum or something that you could work with or to ask questions with peers and maybe meet peers that are on the same journey as you. It's a nice to have. It's not a must have, but it could be nice. And then, if you get stuck, I think they do a really good job of giving you everything you need, but maybe more interaction with the teachers or whoever, right? Like, hey, I'm not understanding this concept. Can I phone a friend, from ACI and just get a question in there? I don't think I saw something specific there. They do have a help desk, but that's more like if something's not working right. So that's kind of part of that community thing, having a way to, not like hey, go teach me this thing, because I get that's not part of the way they're structured and the way their learning is. But again, a nice to have would be, hey, can I just interact with somebody that can help me talk me through this concept or ask questions to? I think would be nice as well.
Yep, I would agree. I think one of the other things I wanted to bring up was, yes, we absolutely enjoyed the walkthrough. We absolutely like how ACI Learning is tackling this, what they bring to the table, what they offer for a very, very reasonable price. And that was another great thing that we liked about them was, you guys know us here, right? We preach like, hey, there's a lot of stuff out there that you can do for low price. And this is definitely one of them, that they offer a great value for your dollar. They absolutely do. And at the end of it, you are prepped and ready to go and take your exams. One of the questions we did ask them was if they had any sort of potential discount or any sort of assistance or anything when it came to actual testing vouchers for these exams. And we're waiting to hear back. But we will, hopefully by the time this goes live, we'll have an answer for you and we'll put it in the description of the video. But that is something else that I would recommend. If the answer we get is no, that is something where they could also improve their value and improve kind of what they're offering to their students by having some level of either discount or some assistance or something like that, right? They're doing all the heavy lifting. They're prepping you for it. If possible, it'd be nice to add that at the end, again, when you're going to go and take your exam, to take some sort of a discount. But yeah, so going back to what I was saying though, there is a lot of solutions out there that people can use to help you get from A to Z, like John was saying. This is one that we've vetted. This is one that we've reviewed. This is one that we've gone through and checked out ourselves, and we absolutely agree with. We like how they do it. We like what they are all focusing on, because it is absolutely things that we recommend people when they come to us and ask us individually, what should I do? What should I do next? How should I do it? So that is kind of why we decided to work with them, and we are talking about them specifically. Now, there are a lot of other options out there, so definitely do your research, see what you like, see what your learning style is, but this definitely has our thumbs up for sure.
Yeah, the best learning program is the one you follow, right? And finish. So experience may vary, but in our, this is one that we think is a good one that we have interacted with, gone through the training, and it's a recommendation, especially for this bundle. So check it out, take a look at it. Like we said, we want you to be successful, and the best way you're going to be successful is to be consistent. And if you have something that helps you work through the structured part of being consistent to get to the goals that you have, then we're all for it.
Absolutely. We've said it again and again, right? People will not come back to something that is boring, right? Learning has to be fun. And if you are trying to learn something completely new like cybersecurity, there's a lot of new things that you're going to come up and be like, what in the world is this? And if you have, or if you're learning it and it's not fun, it's going to be very hard for you to continue that momentum and keep moving forward.
Yep, absolutely. So, check them out. We'll have links in the description for the bundle. Let us know your comments if you have used them before, any thoughts that you have. I think they're definitely open to feedback. I gave them some feedback. I gave them that feedback that I mentioned earlier in our conversation, and they appreciated it. So, just looking to continue to work with them, and we thank them for working with us.
So if you have any questions, if you'd like to learn more or have any questions about kind of what we experienced or kind of what things on the ACI platform that we would recommend outside of the security bundle, let us know. So let us know kind of if you have any questions, need any more specifics, recommendations. But yeah, other than that, I think that's it, John.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
And a huge thank you to our sponsor for Season 5 of the Cybersecurity Mentors Podcast, ACI Learning. You can check out ACI Learning at acilearning.com/simplycyber.